Hello everyone and welcome back to the Entertainment Minds Complicated People. My name is Marcus and today I am joined by our guest Isabel. And today we are going to be doing a Let's Talk. Now, just to quickly address this, we have started to move the Let's Talks from regular episodes into their own episodes because we feel it would fit better. Because what you guys don't know is that out of the maybe 45 minutes in an episode, we actually probably get about 3 hours worth of recording, and what takes up most of the time is the Let's Talk. And so we've decided to just move that from a regular episode so it doesn't feel as forced and as like condensed. And this is a sort of new format where we can have a proper discussion, and it kind of brings it all together, and it leaves room for a nice open discussion without having to worry about time constraints. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this new format, and if you guys do enjoy, please let us know in the comments on YouTube, or if you're on a podcasting platform and you aren't on YouTube, you can send us an email at contact.complicatedpeople@gmail.com. We would love to hear your thoughts on this format, and honestly, yeah, we would just love to know your opinions, how it's going, if there's any improvements to be made, because we are still learning, we still want to improve. So yeah, please just let us know. Let's get into it. So today's Let's Talk is about Disney. So the colossal company that is Disney, the gigantic company that owns pretty much all of the world's greatest IPs. So let's get a bit of background information on Disney. So it was founded on the 16th of October 1923 by Walt and Roy Disney. Walt had lived in Kansas City running another firm called Laugh-O-Gram Studios, which went bankrupt in 1923. They went and produced films like the Alice comedies that stars child actor Virginia Davis as Alice, and pretty much she just gets up to antics in a cartoon world. Now, they are honestly some of the sort of greatest silent films I think I've ever seen. I mean, obviously there are different kinds of silent films, but this one is special because the blend of cel-drawn like animation and live action for the 1920s was absolutely amazing. And so, I mean, before we started recording this, Isabel and I both watched the videos, and we both found them to be quite interesting. And the one we watched in particular was Alice's Wonderland, not to be confused with the other Disney movie, Alice in Wonderland. But Alice's Wonderland was was pretty much about a girl going into a cartoon landscape, and she is blended with cel-drawn animation. And although it does sort of show its age now, for the time, like it's still very impressive, and I can't really say it's dated because it really does kind of hold up for modern standards. But there's certain things that you can see aren't as quite as refined. But to be fair, they were a relatively sort of new to this. You know, everything was new, all this technology was new. So yeah, obviously they weren't going to be as refined. But yeah, I personally quite enjoyed it, and I thought it was amazing to see the blend of the animation style and like live action. Honestly, they're really kind of good movies, and I'll leave a link in the description to that episode. So if you guys to that movie, it's about 12 minutes long. You don't have to watch all of it, but if you just watch the first couple minutes, you'll get the gist of it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And another thing I like is the timing as well. Their timing is absolutely impeccable when it comes to the interacting with the characters. Like, they managed to animate it to such like perfection, and I honestly think that is something that we're missing these days. Like, honestly, it looks more realistic than some of the CGI that Marvel used. WandaVision. But yeah, honestly, I think that it is a great thing for like Disney, and I think it's kind of it says what they were about before they were even about. And I think you can really see like the production quality and the values that Disney once had, and it upsets me that they don't have this these days. But we'll get into that later when we talk about how they evolved. So I mean, Isabel, as I said, watch these, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on Alice's Wonderland.
It's very imaginative in the way that they don't really pay attention to the laws of physics, and they try and create something that's like out of this world to enhance comedy. That's something that they have definitely achieved very well.
After they made the Alice comedies, Walt Disney did eventually move out of Hollywood to work with his brother. The Walt Disney Company originally just focused on animation, and later they would move on to live action films, TV, and theme parks, such as Disneyland that opened in 1955 in California. And obviously, we know that they opened other Disneylands, such as the one in Tokyo, which was their first one abroad. And then they would later move on to the one in Paris, which is probably the one I know best because living in Europe and going to there a couple times, Disneyland really has been a massive part of my life. So let's just quickly talk about each individual category then. So the live action films, something they've started doing a little bit more recently, I would say, particularly with their live action remakes, such as The Jungle Book, which I believe was their first one. And then they would have The Lion King, and then you would have Christopher Robin, which wasn't a live action remake. I will heavily defend that movie. Come at me. It wasn't a remake, it was an original story, at least, unlike The Lion King, which was literally just The Lion King but worse. Mulan, which they removed like one of the main characters for the live action remake, and if you watch one of the Disney Plus series, they actually do go into a little bit depth, saying that Mulan didn't nearly didn't go ahead because they couldn't find the right actress to play Mulan because they were like being really picky over who could play Mulan. And honestly, I think it probably would have been for the best because from what I've heard, that was terrible, très terrible. And then there's the other live action movies that they made, which honestly are pretty god awful. And obviously, I'm not just talking about live action remakes, but they also did live action films. Let's talk about G-Force for a moment. Of course, that was a Disney movie. I believe 2009. Don't quote me on that. I have it on DVD. Come at me. I still have DVDs. That it was a good movie at the time. It was a very good movie. I really liked the movie at the time. But when you go back to it and you rewatch it, you realize that it was god awful. But yeah, if anyone ever remembers G-Force, let me know in the comments because I remember it. And I have fond memories of it, but I'm not gonna go back and watch it because I know it'll ruin my childhood. But obviously, yeah, they did their live action films, which honestly, I would say I'm not going to talk about critically. I'm not going to talk about commercially, but I'm going to talk more like personally and from what I've heard from different people. I don't think the live action movies are going too well for them. But that's just Disney ones, not Marvel. Marvel is obviously doing much better, but we'll get onto that. I mean, you and I were talking about Mulan before we started, and you were saying about like some of the live action movies. I mean, what do you think of how Disney have been treating their live action movies recently?
I will say that there are a few good ones, such as Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast. I thought that those ones did go very well. However, the Mulan, I was very disappointed because it was a good story. However, I wish that they sticked with the original storyline because my second favorite movie is Mulan. And it's a shame that they cut out one of the best characters, which made up most of the comedy in the movie. I'd say that the new movie is a little bit more serious, which I get because of the culture. But there were a few scenes in the original that I quite liked that were not recreated, which I would have liked to see. I was a very big fan of Cruella. It's not necessarily a remake, but it's the story of Cruella, and they really captured that so well. I loved it. It was a great movie. It really showed behind the scenes of the character of Cruella. Alice in Wonderland, I did like the movie. Alice in Wonderland is my favorite Disney movie. I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed, but again, it's a little bit far from the storyline. Not as much as Mulan was, definitely. It still had the main points, the key points, but there were certain aspects to it which slightly different. Aladdin. I
That was god awful.
loved.
No,
I loved Aladdin. Oh my god,
no,
really?
that was god awful. I watched it, and I, it's. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of people, clearly not you, but a lot of people, didn't like Aladdin was because the genie, Will Smith is the genie. That was like the worst casting choice possible, and I, I have justified reasons for it, and I think a lot of the reason is because a lot of people don't want a new genie. A lot of people just want Robin Williams back, which unfortunately can't happen. But a lot of people just preferred the sort of ad lib that like Robin Williams did, and so that movie was compared to the original, which it just can't beat it.
It definitely cannot beat it. I understand that, but I do think that, in my opinion, Will Smith was a very good cast choice. I think he played the part very well compared to the rest of the actors. I feel like he did a very good job.
Mm.
He really created the comedy around the genie in the original movie and managed to match that energy for me, anyways. I don't think there's any other ones that I need to talk about.
It's funny, like, because you brought up Cruella, and I haven't personally watched that. I mean, it's currently one of those sort of new movies. Um, the casting choice of Emma Stone. I mean, Emma Stone can definitely like do a bit of singing if she has to, because well, we've seen La La Land. Which is funny because everyone I talk to hates La La Land, but
Same.
come at me.
We watched it in drama, and man, so bored. I got really bored of that movie. I think that it was a bit too theater for me, too musical.
Fair enough.
It was a bit much for me.
Yeah, no, I can see that because some people just don't like musical. I personally love musicals and I love musical theater. Um, so yeah, that really appealed to me. But
Hmm.
Emma Stone, um, honestly, I think she does an okay job of the British accent. It's for a lot of British people, it's easy to tell when an American is doing a British accent because it comes across as really forced. When like 9 times out of 10 when there's a British accent, like no one ever does like a neutral British accent, like sort of I don't want to say mine because it's not the best example, but I mean I like to think that my accent's pretty neutral, not northern, not southern, but whenever they're doing an accent, it's always the posh accent, and it really annoys me when filmmakers force Americans to do stuff like that, or when British actors are forced to do an even more British accent just so people know that they are British and not Australian, because apparently a British accent is very close to an Australian accent. Again, as I said, I haven't really seen Cruella. I don't exactly know like how it performed. I do know the relative plot to it, and minor agreement, minor disagreement. I think at least it's original, but the whole story of it makes literally like potential spoilers here, but correct me if I'm wrong. Dalmatians killed her mother, who wasn't her actual mother or something. Like Dalmatians killed her mother, and that's why she hates Dalmatians. But like during the movie, she gives people Dalmatians, which is the dog that in the actual 101 Dalmatians films, she's so intent on skinning alive.
Mm, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, so you just from that mini explanation there, you can already see how ludicrous the plot actually is because and she gets named after a car as well, Cruella Deville, because the car is the Deville, not Devil. Oh,
I
great
did
work,
quite like
Disney.
that scene. I did like that scene. That was pretty good.
I mean,
Um,
I'm a cynicist, so you know.
I will say that going back to your accent rant, for this particular movie, I do think that the forced accent was necessary, due to the timeline when it was set, and also the fact that they were in a very posh setting.
Hmm.
Although she wasn't necessarily brought up in a very spoiled environment. However, the fact that I think it was all an act. It was all an act for the character herself. Like she was acting to be someone. Well, she was acting to be Cruella, her natural self, but she was enhancing it. I do think that the acting plays a big part in it. Not just the actress acting. I mean, as in the actual character acting to be her natural self, putting herself out there and trying to be noticed. I think the accent really helped to bring herself forward, give her some authority in a way.
I understand your point. Like, I think I can see where you're coming from with that, and I mean, again, it's each to their own. Like, some people like the movie, some people don't. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Christopher Robin, but like, call me what you want, but like, Winnie the Pooh is my childhood, so I will like vigorously defend anything Winnie the Pooh. Even the crappy Disney shows that used to be on when I was a kid, where they had like this weird girl who appeared like a couple times in place of Christopher Robin. It was weird. It was a weird show. Either way, yeah, that's kind of what happened. But yeah, so moving off of live action films then, before I go on another tirade of other live action movies I hate, this TV. So back to this Disney Winnie the Pooh TV show, this weird mess of a TV show. Like I'm gonna quickly find its name. I found the name of that TV show, and it is called My Friends Tigger and Pooh. And I've actually searched it up on Disney Plus, and it doesn't look like it's in their catalog. So I might have just found something that isn't in Disney's catalog on Disney Plus. That's quite interesting. I wonder why. Probably because they want to forget about it. But the plot, according to the wiki page or IMDb, no, according to IMDb, I think it is. Darby, a 6-year-old girl, and her dog Buster form a detective team with Winnie the Pooh and his friend Tigger and embark on various adventures. Now you can already tell from that synopsis that it is god awful. And that originally aired on Disney Playhouse, which was the original name of Disney Junior. I mean, first off, where the hell did Darby come from? Second of all, why did she have a dog named Buster? Third of all, it was CGI. It was computer generated. I don't know. Originally 2007. How the hell did it last 3 seasons? How? To be fair though, at least I had Jim Cummings doing the voice of Winnie the Pooh, my all-time favorite Mad Lad, Jim Cummings. He's also done various other voices for characters in Skyrim. He's done voices of Transformers in animated series. He's an all-round Mad Lad, but he does Winnie the Pooh, so he's always good. Anyway, back to it. Disney TV shows. That was one of the examples of one of the ones that I wish I could defend, but really can't. But yeah, so the Disney TV shows. Now, if we say Marvel TV shows, then yeah, I can see. I don't know how many Disney TV shows they actually have done. The Disney TV shows that I'm thinking of are all children's TV shows, like Jungle Junction, that weird Winnie the Pooh one. Then there's just a bunch of others that, Handy Manny, that was one that I saw. Yeah, that was Disney. There was Handy Manny, there was, oh god, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. That was one. But yeah, so Disney have basically done a bunch of different TV shows, and most of them, I believe, were kids' TV shows. I haven't really got a list in front of me of Disney TV shows, but I think a lot of the more TV shows that Disney have commissioned have been through Marvel, which is obviously their other massive franchise, cash cow. So obviously you've got like the ones that they've done on Netflix, like Luke Cage, Runaways. There was also that other one, Jessica Jones, Daredevil. That's another one. And then you've got the ones that they've done exclusively for Disney Plus, which is stuff like WandaVision and Loki, which is on at the moment. I haven't finished watching that, but yeah, there's Loki. Then you've also got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then other ones such as like Star Wars TV shows, like The Mandalorian and the Bad Batch. They're also sort of through Disney. But as in Disney themselves, I can't really name many Disney TV shows off the top of my head that aren't kids TV shows. Um, but I don't know about you, Isabel, but like, have you watched any of these kind of like, do you ever remember watching Disney as a child, or are there any like Marvel TV shows that you've seen?
When I was younger, I never really used to watch any kids Disney shows, but I've definitely watched the movies and everything. Definitely. More recently though, I have watched WandaVision. I personally didn't quite enjoy it. I don't really like the character. What's her name?
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah, the series didn't really do it for me. I did watch it all though. It was a bit random for me. Any other ones that I've watched? I haven't watched The Mandalorian. What's the one now with like the Falcon and the
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, that one. I started watching it, but I haven't finished it. I went through the first episode and didn't continue for some reason. I watch these things with my dad, and I don't really visit him too often, so I think that's all I can say about them, because I don't really watch the series. I'm more of a films kind of person
Fair enough.
with Disney.
Yeah, I mean, the TV shows aren't really like something that they're known for. And you said about WandaVision. Personally, I quite liked the sort of new tone that WandaVision brought, and like the new kind of energy, which quickly dissipated after like the first 3 episodes, because when they actually moved into the actual plot of WandaVision and stopped doing the sitcom style, that was when I immediately realized that they had run out of ideas.
I
And
noticed that. Oh
yeah,
my god.
it really
That was a bit
was.
tragic. Yeah, it was going good for the first 3 episodes, but then past that, what happened? I think it got a little bit off when the second witch came into play.
Yeah, yeah, because like I mean, I like the character of Scarlet Witch. I always have. I think Elizabeth Olsen does a great job of doing a character, of portraying a character. But as you said, as soon as like the other witch, Agnes, came in, suddenly it just kind of all folded in on itself. And I think if it hadn't been a mini series and they dragged it on a little bit longer, maybe built up a few different characters, maybe did a couple more episodes, then maybe it would have been better and not felt as rushed. But also, Marvel, Disney, sort out your CGI. I'm sorry, but in both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there are glaringly obvious problems with your CGI. Like, I believe that Thanos is real. Like, half of these characters, like freaking Rocket the Raccoon, looks more realistic than anything you've done in the most recent Marvel TV shows. Like, I don't know. I believe that Rocket Raccoon is real. Like, when I'm watching that movie, I believe that there is a massive tree and a raccoon who can talk to each other. But then you come into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I can't even believe that Falcon can fly. So a little bit to be desired there in terms of the production quality and just general lack of creativity. But honestly, I think the most recent Marvel TV shows have gone downhill very much. Then Loki, spoilers, the Time Variance Authority. Like, who names this shit? Seriously? Time Variance Authority. The TVA. It's just more like, it's just more Marvel stuff that just doesn't make any sense at all. And quite frankly, I think, they need to kind of get to grips with what they're actually trying to portray. But that is Marvel TV shows and Disney TV shows in a nutshell. Theme parks. Disneyland, as I said, opened in July of 1955. And the first one was in California. Now, Disney theme parks, that is something that I can actually say I like. But only Disneyland Paris, because it's the only one I've been to. Basically, Disneyland Paris is something that I love. I have a photo, and back to the Winnie the Pooh thing, I have a photo of me stood next to a massive Winnie the Pooh. And so basically, the first time I went to Disneyland was when I was like really young, when I was probably about 5 or 6. And I really enjoyed that. I really loved Disneyland, and that was such a magical experience for me. I loved it. Then the second time I went was my dad basically had been away for a long time, and he came back. But anyway, I hadn't seen my dad in a fairly long time, and he took us out to Disneyland, like as a sort of treat for since he came back, we all kind of celebrated, went to Disneyland. That was great fun, and I really enjoyed that again. And the rides at Disneyland are great. The Disney Castle is a matter of perspective. I've seen those videos. I know that it's not one solid building. I know that it's all down to your perspective. But I'm sorry to ruin your childhood. But it is just such a great experience, and the people like there are just so nice. And considering it's in France, it's surprisingly nice. The people are surprisingly nice. Honestly, Disneyland Paris, such an amazing place. It's just such a it's just magical. It's somewhere that I would love to go again and again. Even like as I grow up, I will still go to Disneyland because it's just such a lovely place. And I don't think the magic ever gets lost on you because the sheer size and the sheer effort they go into, like I wish they put that amount of effort into any of their Marvel TV shows because the amount of planning and coordination that goes into creating the magic that you see in Disney is unreal, and hats off to them. They actually, that's one of the things they have definitely done right in the past few years, and it's certainly somewhere that I would love to go again. And I think recently they celebrated 25 years of Disneyland Paris. So, it's not been around an amazingly long time, but it's been around long enough, and I really do love it there. And I mean, I don't know about Isabel. Like, have you ever been to Disneyland Paris, or just any Disneyland or Disney World in general?
I have been to Disneyland Paris twice. I loved it. As you said, it is so magical. I would literally have kids just to go there again and let them experience the magic that happens there. It's something you cannot miss. You just have to go. It's like you've been transported into the world of Disney, like fantasy. It's complete detachment from reality. It's crazy. I actually, during one of the parades, I've had two incidences with Rapunzel and Cinderella. Cinderella held my hand and spoke to me. It was quite a moment for little old me. And also Rapunzel waved at me. It's because two times during the parade I was firstly wearing a Cinderella dress and a Rapunzel dress the second time, and I will say that I was a huge fan of dressing up in Disney dresses. It was a big part of my life. I would go to Tesco's wearing an outfit and I would not care. Oh, I'm just thinking about all the memories, that nostalgia. Oh wow. It just brings everyone together as well. I love it.
Yeah. That is theme parks. So, as we move through the timeline of Disney, we get all the way up to the 90s. And that is when they started acquiring a bunch of, companies. So they purchased Capital Cities, which is also ABC. So they included it. This purchase included the ABC network, which had a majority stake in ESPN, and a joint stake in Lifetime Entertainment Services, and a minority stake in A&E Television Networks, and a limited partnership stake in DIC Entertainment. That is a lot of entertaining. Then there's Starwave, which is a online role-playing game company. So they bought them, and then there was InfoSeek, which was basically a search engine that was... I don't know why they bought the search engine, personally, but I do vaguely remember it being a thing. But it was purchased in 1999, and they then turned that into a portal to Go.com. Go.com is basically just this list of Disney IPs, Disney websites, and then you can just click on them and it takes you to a Disney website. It's pretty terrible idea, to be fair, but understandably failed. Then in 2001, they bought Fox Family Worldwide. Then in 2004, they bought the Muppets. Then more recent acquisitions include Pixar in 2006. Fun fact for you, Pixar was helped along by Steve Jobs, and Pixar. A lot of the people that worked at Pixar used to work at LucasArts or whatever it was at the time. They used to work for Lucasfilms and used to do some animation stuff for them. Then they broke off, they went and made Pixar Entertainment, and they got funding from a guy named Steve Jobs. So that way, Disney, Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Apple are all connected. Although Disney would later go on to acquire Pixar, and they would also go on to get Lucasfilm in 2012. So basically, the only thing that they don't own that helped create one of their most successful companies is Apple. But yeah, anyway, Marvel 2009. As I said, Lucasfilm was 2012. Maker Studios was bought in 2014, and BAMTech was bought in 2017. 21st Century Fox was bought in 2019. But so there are the acquisitions. So obviously, anyone that has Disney Plus knows that you can pretty much find anything that Disney has ever created on there. And recently they added Star. Now, they managed to add Star on there because Star is part of, I believe, the 21st Century Fox kind of network, and a lot of Fox shows and stuff are now on Star. And I do believe that includes Family Guy, so you can get Family Guy on Disney Plus. And you can get The Simpsons on Disney Plus, although The Simpsons came to Disney Plus before any of the other 21st Century Fox IPs. But yeah, and also I watched Fox the other day because I got bored. I didn't know what to watch, so I just turned on Fox. And literally at every ad break, they're advertising their own shows. They're advertising, like one of the advertisements was for Bones. And that is obviously a Fox show, but they were saying you can get all 18, you can get all like 8 seasons of that on Disney Plus. And basically every ad break was an ad break to advertise Disney Plus. So yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. But yeah, they have a bunch of different things that they've acquired again. Pixar, which they've kind of ruined because a lot of people can't tell the difference between Pixar and Disney Animation Studios anymore. Because there's a lot of Disney Animation Studios movies that like I believe Lucas was one of them. That was like a Disney thing. Like Wreck-It Ralph was a Disney Animation Studios like company. That it was a film even, and so that was made by that company. But Pixar make their own films. Like Pixar are a different company entirely, as far as I can tell. Although the lines of that have become blurred in the recent years. But obviously Pixar have done very well. Like they have made Monsters Inc. They made Cars. They made Cars 2. Oh wait, that wasn't good. Cars 3. No. Nemo. Finding Nemo. Then there was Finding Dory. Off of that topic. But yeah, basically Disney have ruined Pixar in the most recent years. Disney have also ruined Marvel in the most recent years because, like, you know, Iron Man, that was a brilliant movie. Iron Man 2, brilliant movie. Iron Man 3, brilliant movie. Spider-Man, okay, that was Sony. But there's a lot of like old Marvel movies that were brilliant, and then the most recent ones, it's like, oh, look, the Vision's not dead. Way.
I loved Iron Man and Spider-Man. They're my probably 2 favorites
Spider-Man's great.
of Marvel.
But like, what are your opinions on any of these acquisitions or like any of these companies in general?
I don't really have anything to say about these companies actually.
But then again, we move through the timeline, and we have Bob Chapek announced in February of 2020 that he was to succeed Bob Iger as CEO. And then Iger stayed as executive chairman and chairman of the board during the transition period. And then in March of 2020, of course, we all know what happened then, and the pandemic hit. And Iger announced that he wouldn't take a salary during the pandemic in March 2020. And this is because he made, and this is eye-watering amounts of money, 47.5 million US dollars. He made that much in 2019. And Disneyland locations had to unfortunately close. And 500 million US dollars were saved through putting over 100,000 staff at theme parks and hotels on indefinite unpaid leave. So, just on that note, basically Disney laid off their staff without laying off their staff. They said, don't worry, you've still got a job here, you just aren't going to get paid for it. And, you know, obviously that's a great thing that Disney did, saving 500 million US dollars. They could probably put that towards making, I don't know, a Cinderella 2. Oh, wait. Maybe they can make a Jungle Book 2. Oh wait. Maybe a Lion King 1.5. Oh wait. It seems that they just didn't need that money at all. Quite frankly. So they could maybe give that 500 million back to the people that need it to feed their families and can't get jobs because of the pandemic. I don't know. Maybe it's just it could be me being a little bit over generous, but personally, I think people need money to feed their families. But whatever, could just be me. Probably just me being a responsible citizen. But no. Then Shanghai Disneyland reopened in was the first to reopen in May of 2020 with COVID measures, which meant it would operate at 30% capacity. There'd be social distancing, face masks, and temperature checks. So then there were more reopenings that would slowly follow. And obviously, Disney cruises were also impacted during the pandemic. And then they released releases and productions of many films and TV shows were delayed due to the pandemic and having to try and sort all this out. So that kind of led to a few different things getting canned or delayed. Obviously, some of the most notable things is like a lot of their new Marvel movies have been delayed, and a lot of their new stuff has been premiering on Disney Plus through a paid for access. So Raya and the Last Dragon that was published on there. Then there's Luca, which is the most recent one, I believe. Then there was something else, but honestly, most of these names are quite forgettable because they're pretty weak plots. But yeah, that's basically what's been happening recently. They also shut down Blue Sky Studios. But yeah, if you want to see that more in depth, we did discuss that on episode 17 of the podcast. So if you want to go back and check that out, be my guest. But yeah, that's pretty much an entire history of Disney. And it's been a long sort of ride for Disney, I think, and certainly a lot more to come. I personally think that the traditional values of Disney have been sort of overshadowed most recently, and I think that Disney is becoming one of those greedy companies. Like every company, they're just becoming more money hungry and more greedy, and trying to cut corners wherever possible, which is not making for good quality content. And yeah, honestly, it does upset me that Disney has become this way. I did say, like, it's funny, a couple years ago, I said to myself, and I said this to a few other people as well, I said, the day they make a Wreck-It Ralph 2 and a live-action Winnie the Pooh is the day I finally give up on Disney. They made... And in that same year, I kid you not, they made, or at least announced, pretty much what happened is I said, you know, when they finally make a Wreck-It Ralph 2 and a live-action Winnie the Pooh is there, I finally give up on Disney. And within that same year, they'd announced a Wreck-It Ralph 2 and a live-action Winnie the Pooh, which was just great foreshadowing, wasn't it? Although, to be fair, Wreck-It Ralph 2 was an absolutely brilliant marketing campaign for all of Disney's other IPs, and also a good movie too. But yeah, that was basically just, it was one entire gigantic ad, but I did enjoy it. Then the live-action Winnie the Pooh, as I said, I'll defend that vigorously. Christopher Robin, the movie, that was something I really enjoyed personally as well. But yeah, overall, I think Disney has gone downhill in most recent years, and I hope they can kind of like restart and go back to their roots. Maybe do some cell animation. Go back to doing the kind of good stuff. I really miss like the old days of like Sleeping Beauty. Like that was one of the best kind of movies. That was like a great movie, and I kind of wish that they still put that kind of production quality in the movies. I mean, they're pretty much my final thoughts on Disney and them as a company. So I'll hand it over to Isabel now to give her final thoughts on Disney.
I believe that they have done a very good job in presenting their stories through animation. They've really created a magical world for everyone to enjoy. Love it.
I do actually agree with you on that. Although I have like on Disney for most of this episode, some of the worlds they've created and some of the characters they've created or turned into movies, that they have done an exceptional job. And I do wish, yeah, I wish Disney all the best in the future, and I wish that they like the reason why I'm getting so irate over Disney is because it's just as Isabel said about them creating magic. I miss like always being in awe of everything they create. Like I used to always look up to Disney and go, "Wow," but now I go, "Cash grab, cash grab. Wow, that was a good movie. Cash grab, cash grab, cash grab. Marvel movie, cash grab." And I wish I could just look at them with a little less cynicism and be more like, "Wow, that was a great movie." And that's why I'm getting so like angry, and it's because I just miss the days that I could be part of like the Disney worlds. One time I used to feel like I was in a Disney movie, and now I feel like I have paid for the privilege of being exploited. But that is me. I think that does conclude today's episode. If you would like to see more of us, you can go find us on Twitter and Instagram at MindedPeoplePC. We also have a website, which we'll link in the description of today's episode, and you can go visit that, and we'll have some spotlight episodes over there. So if you don't know what to watch, go over there, check it out, and maybe find a few videos that you want to see, because we'll recommend them to you through there. We also have a lovely Discord server, and honestly, it's a great place. We have a lovely, friendly, welcoming community, and we have multiple channels where you can talk about Disney. Too much Disney today. Where you can talk about movies, TV shows, anime. You can talk about all sorts of things, gaming, and yeah, we'd love to see you over there. Come join us, and it's also one of the best ways to stay updated on the podcast. And we also have an email address, so if you want to send in any comments that we may feature in the next video, in the next episode, sorry, we will leave that in the description, but okay, we won't leave that in the description, lol. Wait, we do we? No, we don't. But our email is contact.complicatedpeople@gmail.com, so if you want to go find us over there, and speak to us through that way, please do. And lastly, we also have a YouTube channel, which is the same name as the podcast. So if you'd like to go over there, give us a subscribe, like a couple of videos, it really does help. And again, if you're already over on YouTube, why don't you just leave us a comment down below and sort of tell us what you did and didn't like about this episode, whether you agree or disagree with anything that's been said. And honestly, we would love to hear your opinions. And again, we may even feature that in a future episode. So just before we go, I'd like to thank Isabel for joining me today on this episode. Thank you, Isabel, for your lovely insights into the world of Disney.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, it's been great talking to you, and it's been great fun recording. So hope that we have created something for you guys at home. Hope you guys have really enjoyed this, and thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Adios, amigos.